tag team contest is scheduled for one fall. On the way to the ring, representing the Four Horsemen from Atlanta, Georgia, Chris Benoit. And his tag team partner, representing the Four Horsemen from Tampa, Florida, Dean Malenko. And Kevin Nash, the outsider.
So here we have the WCW Four Horsemen, Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit, facing it off against the outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, who have been representing the N.W.O Red and White here on WCW recently. They have split away from the rest of the N.W.O faction and have become their own entity in this company. This is the first match of the Tag Team Tournament for WCW. The winner of this match will go on to face the winner between the remaining N.W.O members and the Flock. The members representing the N.W.O in this tournament will be Buff Bagwell and Scott Steiner, and the Flock will be represented by Perry Saturn and Raven. Chris Benoit making the tag team Malenko here. These two more technical wrestlers fighting against the brawlers, Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner. Not Scott Steiner, Scott Hall. Scott Steiner will be in the match later tonight between N.W.O and the Flock. That's not the only Flock N.W.O match. There's also the match between Tupac and Kidman, which will be a match to determine the final qualifier for the Royal Rumble. Big tag team maneuver, punch to the gut by Scott Hall. Two veteran tag team partners working together. Worked together in the WWE as Razor Ramon and Diesel, I believe, as the Outsiders. They were also the Outsiders for WCW before N.W.O Wolfpack came into existence. Here, see the flashing lights going on in the darkened arena. WCW trying to put an emphasis on the ring, on the match. This is about the fighting, not about the storyline like in some other brands. It's not about the audience reaction so much as about the competitors in the ring. Their strength, their expertise, their skill, all being shown on display. Throwing Scott Hall right back into the turnbuckle are Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko. Both of these men, great submission wrestlers, with Chris Benoit looking to get the crippler crossface on someone. Just as I mentioned, that submission maneuver being applied by Scott Hall, but Chris Benoit not allowing himself to be tapping out. Dean Malenko would look for the cloverleaf submission maneuver on these two combatants. Scott Hall's razor edge, as he would call it when he was in the WWF, is often his finishing maneuver. And Kevin Nash would often go for a big power bomb maneuver for his finisher. We have a lot of tag team matches here tonight. We also have the continuation of the Raw's War tournament going on between the Corporation, Big Boss Man and Ken Shamrock, versus the team of the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal. Hawk and Animal, great WCW stars in their own right. I'm sure the crowd will love to see them come back here for this one match tonight. Scott Hall putting the hurt on Chris Benoit, but quickly getting tossed back in the corner. Likely a trade? No. Scott Hall able to counter the maneuver into a big clothesline. Big axe handle smash by Scott Hall. Really using his brawler mentality to put the hurt on the technical wrestlers here. We might see attack from both sides, but no. Dean Malenko seems to have other things on his mind. Looking over at Scott Hall. Chris Benoit kicking the legs out from underneath Kevin Nash. For a lot of big men, you want to take out the knees, make them a smaller man, as it were. Drop toe hold by Dean Malenko, once again trying to take the big man off of his feet. Kevin Nash is a very big man, but not quite as big as some of the other stars in wrestling today, like Paul Wright, the Big Show, and Mark Henry, the world's strongest man. Kevin Nash is in line with wrestlers like Kane and The Undertaker. Very tall, but not necessarily the largest of wrestlers. But fighting against Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit here, he looks like an absolute giant. Again, Dean Malenko trying to hurt the legs. His move, the cloverleaf, that hurting both the legs and the back of his opponent. Dean Malenko dropping Kevin Nash in the center of the ring. Kevin Nash might go for a tag here as well. We've seen frequent tags from both of these veteran tag teams. Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit have tagged many times in the past, and have been great members of the Four Horsemen here in the WCW. I believe that was the first pinfall of the match. Only a 1 count. Not much of a surprise. Scott Hall with a big counter to Chris Benoit running into him. Scott Hall getting put into the corner again. Perhaps going to see another tag. Frequent tags being made by these teams, trying to employ tag team maneuvers while they can. and where they can when they're in the corner. A big release suplex by Scott Hall. Now both Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit are suplex machines. Chris Benoit more famous for it though. Fall away slam here from Scott Hall. Might be looking for a big move. Yes, he's looking for a giant move here. Looking to perhaps finish the match. Kevin Nash looking to perhaps try and take out Chris Benoit, but not quite. Razor's Edge by Scott Hall. Kevin Nash missing the spear. Dean Malenko kicking out of the Razor's Edge really quickly. Here. The ref's got to get Chris Benoit out of there. Another big slam by Scott Hall. Dean Malenko has got to want to get out of that ring very soon. Get the fresher man, Chris Benoit, in there. Both tied up. Kevin Nash going to win that trade most of the time. Into a hip toss. Trying to keep Dean Malenko down on the ground, away from his tag partner. Whipping him into his opponent's corner. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash working together to try and keep Master of 1,000 Holds down on the ground and out of this match. A big chop block by Dean Malenko. Looks like it might get him the tag. Yes, Chris Benoit coming back in. And Kevin Nash immediately going to tag Scott Hall back into the match. Trying to keep each other as fresh as possible. Not staying in the ring for too long. Chris Benoit looking to damage the arm of Scott Hall. Weaken some of those lifts and big power moves that Scott Hall uses. Especially on these slightly smaller competitors. Even Scott Hall looks very big in comparison to Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit. Looks like Benoit might go for the crossface here. Yes, he's got him in. He's got him locked in tight. He might be reaching for the ropes. He might be too close to the ropes here. Now, Scott Hall able to counter out of the cripple crossface. Flip himself over and get him out of that very dangerous move. Could break an arm there. Especially the arm, he's already been weakened. Scott Hall looking to try and get a rest. Tags Kevin Nash back into the ring. All four of these men have great individual wrestlers as well. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Chris Benoit, all being former WCW champions. I don't quite recall Dean Malenko being the heavyweight champion, however, he has been one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time. Chris Benoit fighting Kevin Nash in his own corner. Not one of the smartest moves you can do in a tag team match. Normally you want to fight in your own team's corner. Chris Benoit is holding his head. Dean Malenko holding his gut. They both look very tired, especially in comparison to Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. A big toss by Kevin Nash, perhaps going for a pin here. One. Only a 1 count by Dean Malenko. He's got to be in pain, but not letting Kevin Nash get that fall on him. He wants to be part of that tag team picture. He wants to be part of the tag team championship picture. And perhaps get the title shot at Night of Champions on Sunday. You have to wonder if Kevin Nash and Scott Hall wanted more. Want to face the N.W.O, face their former teammates, and fight for the title and destroy them if N.W.O in fact gets their win over the Flock later tonight. Be a bitter rivalry of former friends. These four teams are not the only teams in WCW, however they're the four most prominent teams in the ring today. We do have teams like Jericho, of Chris Jericho and Big Show, and also the team of the old megalomaniacs, which are part of N.W.O, which are Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, two old WWF stars who are also big in WCW. Both competitors out in the ring right now. Dean Malenko probably not on the side where he wants to be. Kevin Nash can grab him and do what he will. Looks like he's throwing him back into the ring. Very strong. Oh, Kevin Nash getting speared into the announce table. The Scott Hall and Dean Malenko fight on the outside a bit more. Scott Hall accidentally downing the ref with a big forearm smash. Gotta wonder how long the ref will be down from that powerful move. Ref is actually up. Probably gonna give him Scott Hall a warning here. Dean Malenko countering that grab from behind, putting some offense against Scott Hall. But once again, they've been making frequent tags, keeping themselves very, very fresh against these two more tired individuals of Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko. Gotta wonder how much longer Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit can hold out. Seems that Kevin Nash and Scott Hall are unrelentless in their assault. Kevin Nash is grabbing him back up by the throat with a big punch. Almost like the Big Show's KO punch. Looking for a pin here. Only a 1 count. And a big power bomb by Kevin Nash. Gotta wonder if this is gonna be it. If Dean Malenko is gonna be able to kick out from that big power maneuver by Kevin Nash. Only a 1 count. Scott Hall and Chris Benoit fighting over on the side. Scott Hall trying to ensure that Chris Benoit doesn't interfere with any pinfall. So once again, Dean Malenko gets another finisher put on him, and he kicks out. What a strong competitor, and what heart he has. But you have to wonder if he'll ever give up hope and try and put more of his money into the Royal Rumble match later tonight. All 4 of these competitors automatically qualified for the Royal Rumble as we see a pin. Only 1 count once again by Dean Malenko. The winner of that match will be the WCW Heavyweight Champion. We have seen 2 champions crowned in the past 2 nights. Triple H, the Raw Heavyweight Champion, and Jake the Snake Roberts, the ECW Champion. Chris Benoit getting tossed into the enemy corner once again. More tag team maneuvers by the veteran tag team. What are they going to go for here? Double flapjack? Yeah, that's what it is. Using both their strengths to put their enemy high up in the air. And a small package by Chris Benoit looking for a pin. Oh my god. And the Four Horsemen steal it away from the Outsiders in this match. Looked like the Outsiders had it throughout the entire match, and a small package picks up the victory.